Hey there guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Let's Play Area of Sorrow. This is Vicarious Brian, your fearless leader speaking, and today we're going to continue exploring the outer regions of Dracula's castle. And here we have a plot piece. This mysterious man is hopefully human, as Soma wants, and his name is Graham. He's going to be a fairly large player for the rest of the game, although the game is not super plot-centric. It says he's a missionary, and he's just interested in how we got here. So we ask him a question. Let's see, what do we ask? Is it true that this is Dracula's castle? It most certainly is, he says. Soma mentions that Europe thing that I mentioned before. Apparently this isn't his true castle, or rather the castle in Europe isn't his true castle. Soma, why don't you believe in vampires? You've been fighting skeletons and zombies for the past 20 minutes. That's terrible. So Graham apparently knows a lot about Dracula. Makes sense, since he's a missionary, I suppose. And, let's see. Oh, right, so Dracula in the canon perished in 1999. And Soma Cruz, apparently this is Nostradamus' great prophecy. I'm not sure about that, but in 1999, Dracula was resurrected, and a guy named Julius Belmont killed him supposedly for good. But here we are 36 years later, it seems like the castle's back. And the second part of a prophecy, apparently, in 2035, a new master will come to the castle to inherit all of Dracula's power. Well, I guess that's nice to know. So good on you, Graham. Interesting. I'm just taking a look at the character sprites for a second. Oh, actually, that door means we're going to go to a new area, so I'm not going to do that yet. We're going to go explore that little nub over there. I'm just noticing, like, how ridiculously bizarre yet cool looking all these characters look. Graham with his nice white suit. And if you guys will notice in the next text area, oh, wait a minute. Okay, that looked very similar to a previous room. And just how ridiculously debonair Soma Cruz looks in his fluffy white coat. Very cool. Of course, like in all video games, it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, that guy looks so cool. And then you go and buy a coat like that and try and look like him and you just look like a douchebag. It's a video game thing, man. Alright, so we got some money. Not bad. Not bad at all. Actually, later on in the game, there's going to be a guy who we meet who's going to open up shop, which will allow us to spend all of our hard-earned cash. Or, not really hard-earned, I guess. We're just sort of running around whacking stuff with our sword, but... Alright, so now we're going to be moving back to that door, which is gonna... Oh, I believe it's gonna bring us to a place called the Cathedral, which is... I don't know, sort of annoying. There's a lot of ghost enemies which just can reappear anywhere. We're actually going to save before we go there. This isn't a hard game by any stretch of the imagination, but you never know. Alright. So Cathedral, here we come. That's interesting because Graham's a missionary. He's going back to the Cathedral. Good on Graham. Get your religion on. Oh, okay, chapel. Never mind, sorry everyone. I'm a terrible person, and I apologize. I'm actually using the 360 controller to play this. I'm using the analog stick, which, I don't know, it's okay. Ideally with 2D games, I like the... Ah, dang it. Ideally with 2D games I prefer the D-pad, but the 360 D-pad really isn't that great, so we're trying out the analog stick for now. We'll see how it goes. And we leveled up again to level 5, so that's not too bad. Wow, yeah. So like I mentioned before, the Axe Armor soul really takes a lot of magic. Unfortunately, this isn't New Game Plus or anything. I really should have done a New Game Plus because there's an item that can... Oh, no, I'm getting things mixed up. Later on in the game, there's actually a soul. I think it's the Wood Golem soul. And that will passively raise our mana regeneration, which is a huge boon. Dang it. Double dang it. Alright, so I think this is just a part that juts out from the main path. I thought there was an item here, like a sword or something like that, but apparently not. But a lot of these like castle alcoves will have swords and things. Later on there's a sword hunting that we're going to try and grab. That is, it's got a pretty cool animation, does some pretty good damage. I think I mentioned last episode I wasn't going for 100%, and yet I still find myself looking at the map constantly, trying to make sure that I got every part of the map that I'm in. That's really kind of an OCD thing I have when it comes to games. At least if I'm gonna be in an area, I want to complete the map there, but I'm not gonna go back and try and 100% everything. Alright, and then there's another alcove up here, I believe. So we're gonna go back and check that out. Just because. Maybe this one will have that item that I was earlier mistaken about. Yeah, the other thing that would be nice at this point in the game is what's called the Black Panther spell, or soul rather. Sorry about that. Which gives you the ability to run, essentially. Be nice to have it a little bit earlier in the game, though, because Soma is quite slow. I mean, if it's your first playthrough, it's not really a big deal, but I've probably played this game 10 or so times, and I've 100%ed it twice. So sometimes it does get a little annoying to have to walk so slowly everywhere. Alright, we're actually gonna go back around here because I missed that sword, or that item over here. Alright, so here we have the rapier, which does a little bit more damage, and I think has a faster animation, it seems like, which is always appreciated. I've always preferred these stabbing weapons, because there are a few different kinds of weapons. There's axes, hammers, swords, lances even, guns. I've always liked the stabbing weapons just because they're so easy to cancel by, like, backdashing or something like that. And the other thing, actually, beyond canceling attacks through backdashing, is if you attack right before you land... Oh, alright, I gotta take care of these guys. If you attack right before you land like this, you can hit the enemy, and right when you hit the ground, your mid-air attack cancels, and yet you still do damage, so you can do stuff like this where you attack twice, much faster than if you just attack twice on the ground. Again, minor things that really aren't necessary in a game as easy as this, but, you know, I guess when you play the game as much as I have, you sort of pick a few things up here and there. Oh, this part's sort of annoying. We're actually going to use Zombie Soldier, so we can kill these Oons, which are nigh impossible to attack unless you have something to lob down there. Not that I really need to kill him, but, you know, might as well for the experience. Alright, so here we have our second boss, the Manticore. It's another one of those bosses that's going to be a regular enemy later in the game, and is pretty easy. I've had trouble a few times where I just didn't have the levels. Ooh, that's not good. So we are poisoned, which doesn't take away from your health, but does... I think it makes you do less physical damage, but not poisoned anymore. So like I said, for the most part pretty easy. His attacks really do quite a bit of damage though, so I guess we should be a little careful. Now, as you can... Ooh. I can't see how much health we have because I have a frames marker. I think we have 88, so we're good for one more 60 damage attack. Okay, so we're not good anymore. We'll spam some of these souls. Hopefully that'll finish him. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, great. So we made it on a mere technicality. Best way to win. Technicalities. Well, I guess it's not a technicality. I'm just talking out my ass at this point. But we did win, and that's all that matters. But yeah, as you guys might have noticed, I did mess up the timing on a lot of those jumping attacks. Because if you attack too late, the damage won't actually go through, unfortunately. So you have to have pretty good timing. Oh no. Honestly, this guy, I have no idea how you pronounce it. Maybe Quetzalcoatl? Maybe? I don't know. Probably more difficult than the Manticore. So I'm not even going to try and kill him. I just want to see how his name is spelled. Yeah, so Quetzalcoatl, I guess. That's how I'm going to assume it is. But hopefully we never run into him ever. Because he's very annoying, because you can only hit him on his head, and yet his whole body damages you. And he'll stun lock you. And he doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's just one of those annoying enemies, I guess. Same thing with these rippers, I think. Those little guys who are jumping around. They have a few palette swaps later on. One of them is a ripper. I'm not sure what this one's called. It might be Flea Man. But regardless, they can be pretty annoying as well. Yeah, we can't make that yet. Hopefully we get the double jump pretty soon. I figure really any game, it's just the quest to get that double jump. I'm trying to think, like, there had to be a first game with the double jump ability. I'm assuming that, like, high jumping abilities came first. But I wonder what the first game with double jump is, because it's really an interesting concept. I mean, in real life, as far as I know, nothing can double jump. I guess, like, birds can jump and then flap or something, but as far as people are concerned, the concept of a double jump is not at all ingrained in how we live our day-to-day lives. So I'm curious as to who came up with that concept. And if you're out there watching or listening, you know, good on ya, because that's pretty cool ability. So I think actually our next spell is coming up. Okay, I'm just gonna give up there. Our next spell is coming, or next boss battle rather, is coming pretty quickly. I actually think it's a clay golem or a wood golem. Could be mistaken. Hopefully it's the wood golem, so maybe we can get his soul for some passive regeneration, but I'm not holding my breath. But we got a nice new sword to fight him with, so that's always good. And like most boss battles, this one's going to have a save point right before it, thankfully. There are a few that are just out in the middle of nowhere, or at least the save point isn't really close or obvious, so you can miss it, which can be quite annoying, but at this point, I know my way around the game more or less, fortunately. Okay, so it's interesting they give us an uncursed potion at this point of the game. I can't think of an enemy that curses you at this point. There are definitely some enemies later on that are annoying that'll curse you, but for now I don't think there are any. Cursing, if you guys aren't aware of how Area of Sorrow, or Aria of Sorrow, does it, basically drains your magic bar, but it's like a passive drain over time. It's not just one attack and they drain you. Definitely an annoying ability. Actually, I can't remember what the name of this is. It's not the Catacombs. We're not there yet. Catacombs is late game. We might still be in the dancing room, or whatever they ended up calling it. So this is kind of an interesting part of the game because there's really no focus on puzzles or anything like that. And yet, this is like one of maybe 2 or 3 places where you have to push something around for a pseudo jumping puzzle, I guess. Oh, well, we need double jump anyway. I think that's the whip sword too. That's a cool weapon. So it's really, I don't know, it doesn't come across as super jarring, but it is bizarre in terms of the game. Oh, okay, so I lied, guys. These enemies actually show up earlier than I thought. These ones right here, the ectoplasm enemies, they'll give you the curse status, so gotta be concerned with that. They're not too hard to avoid, but sometimes they do sneak up on you. One of the interesting things... Oh, okay, so we have the Flea Man Soul. That's that little hopping guy, which I guess I'm obligated to show you. Yeah, so it just creates a Flea Man. Kind of a cool ability. But we're going to stick with the axe armor. Yeah, one of the interesting things about this game I've always found is basically like how enemies will manipulate the screen to get an advantage on you. Because the way the screens are set up, you can only get pushed back so far before... Whoa, that was bizarre. Before you get pushed out of the screen. And I mean, if they do damage to you and push you out of the screen, when you come back, all the enemies are going to be healed. So it's kind of an interesting thing where sometimes they'll put you in rooms with a ton of enemies, and you have to, I guess, manage space to better fight. Maybe I'm reading a little bit too much into it, but you know, I like doing that. I like reading a lot into games. It allows you to let them be a more deep experience, I've always found. So we're finding ourselves getting pretty low on health again. I might be under-leveled. I guess level 7. That's not too bad. I think the target for the next boss, we want to be level 9. I think. I'm not sure. Of course, those target levels that I'm quoting are just... I think I remember reading them in Nintendo Power, like way back. Well, not way back, I guess. No, yeah. Jesus, it's 2013 already. That makes me sick. Good lord. Okay, so we're just gonna save up and heal here. And I think that's actually gonna be it for today, guys. But next time we're gonna go check out some creepy underground segments, I believe. So, should be fun. Hope I see you guys there, and you have a wonderful day.